Salman was the last minute addition 2 days before the departure. Because we were one guy short. Salim Saab and Salman and all used to frequent the Sea Rock Club, which was at Land's End, And Aarti's dad, Major Gupta, he was in charge of the club, working with them. So he mentioned to Aarti that if you're looking for a good swimmer, my friend's son is there. Young guy, great swimmer, comes and swims every day. Not done anything. Aarti went to see him, and his story is that he saw her, wanted to impress her, dived in, came out from the other side. I shot with Akshay Kumar for a film for Red and White cigarettes when cigarette advertising was allowed in cinemas. He gave me 15 days.
For one ad.
He said, make me a great ad because it's the first ad I'm doing. And we shot him, doing his own stunts, jumping from a cable car, rescuing a girl, everything. Went to Lonavala, went to Film City, kept doing shoots with him till we got the whole thing right. See, I was westernized. I didn't realize the impact that this would have on the Indian audience. Never seen before a girl in a bikini.
Correct.
Never seen before a girl frolicking in the waterfall in a bikini. But I did Mile Sur. I started in Hindi. I told Bhimsen Joshi that, so when I gave him the lyrics, he said, yes, I'll do it for you. Just give me a week. So he came back in a week to the recording studio with that song worked out in Bhairavi. And I'm telling you, he sat down with a tanpura, one harmonium player and one tabla, and he recorded it for 45 minutes, because he's a classical singer.
Welcome to another episode of Sell-Side Conversations. Today our guest is Kailash Surendranath, a veteran ad filmmaker who's made over 5,000 ad films. In a conversation with him, we will discuss how he got into ad filmmaking, the story behind Liril, Campa ad featuring Salman Khan, Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, and many more iconic ads. Kailash, welcome to Sell-Side Conversations. Hi Kailash, welcome to Sell-Side Conversations.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here. So Kailash, let's walk through your career over here. So, it's been a great illustrious career. So let's go to the beginning. Can you just talk to us about your childhood, your early influences? Tell us where.
Yeah, sure. See, my father was a singing star of his time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, his posters are up here. Untold, 1997, films like that. He worked a lot with Mehboob Khan. And of course, he's no more. But he came to Bombay pre-independence from Lahore.
Okay.
And somehow almost instantly found his way into films. And that was actually in the late 30s. And he continued to be a singing star till the 50s.
Okay.
Till he did Anmol Ghadi and some of the recent films which were big hits with Suraya, Nurjan, Awaaz De Kahan Hai, songs like that. Those days, most heroes used to sing. There was no playback. So everyone had to be a singing hero.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And then later, when he came of age, he started taking up character roles. So he was in some nice films like Waqt, Geet Gaya Pathrone with V. Shantaram, the good makers, L.V. Prasad. So many people. And he was in the industry. But of course, he was not a hero. And he needed some kind of second line of defense. Now, I grew up in that environment. So my whole background was always to see musicians, riyas going on, and hear talk about films. And then when he took up a small production company of his own, and using the people that he knew in Bombay, he had been in Bombay a long time, and always in South Bombay. So he knew a lot of people who ran big corporates and stuff. And he started doing ads himself. But those days it was very different.
This was in the 50s, 60s?
This must have been in the late 50s and 60s.
Okay.
Now, I was in college, in St. Xavier's College. As soon as I finished St. Xavier's College, I always loved films. I love to watch at least. And of course, while you're watching and you know a little bit about films because you hear from hearsay around you, then you start learning a little bit more of the technical aspect. Went to St. Xavier's College and I graduated in physics and maths.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but just Just before that, when I finished my ISC, which was in Canton School, it's like a senior Cambridge of that time. So we were eligible to sit for the IIT entrance exam.
Okay.
You don't have to do first or second year college to sit. So when I went and did the IIT exam, I was selected for doing metallurgical engineering or something in Kharagpur. Now,
So you cracked the IIT exam as well?
huh?
Did you crack the IIT exam?
No. I see. I just went there for a couple of days,
Acha.
and
Yeah, but the IIT
I just thought to myself, this is too serious, too academic, and my nature was not like that, because the moment we had finished school, I was playing in a band, I'd learned some music, I was playing more like that time's rock and pop music, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, and enjoying that, stage performance. And it was a time of Siddharth Bhatia wrote a book, Psychedelic Boy India. It was that time, where there were bands playing and there were fans, and of course, it was a very selected few. So I was enjoying my life too much to be stuck in Kharagpur. And so I came back and I joined Xavier's. Now I graduated film, but the thing is, while I was in college, even from first year onwards, even a little bit before that, Dad was making these, one-off BD films and bang films and whatever he could do. Those days, tobacco films, cigarette films, all allowed those days. So there was a constant influx of technicians, cameramen, editors in the house. So you had those. There was that conversation always. I was to watch, sometimes sit in with them, and having loved films, I started learning. So eventually, I did academically really well. But in the first year of college, I realized that I have to help out financially in the household. Okay. So I thought, let me go to college and work with him. So I took it up to work with him first and then started a new production company, FAR. Okay. So now what happened was. And this was while you were in college? While I was in college, very early days. In fact, at that time, my brother decided to go to the Film Institute. Okay. To be an actor. And he was there for 2 years. And while he was there, I used to visit. That made my interest grow in films. And I met a lot of technician friends who were studying to be technicians. Among them were great cameramen, editors who are big stars today. And of course, there was the film archive close by, run by one gentleman called Mr. Nair, who had, at that time, as you know, there was no video, there was no TV, and of course, there was no digital at all. So I would go there and they would allow me to screen films. So surprisingly, they're quite open to that. And I managed to see, apart from my dad's old films, a lot of Japanese classics, European classics, and started learning. And then I used to discuss with the institute graduates. So it was almost like being in the institute, So you're like more of self-taught filmmaker. Exactly. I never missed a good movie in Bombay. Okay. At least a good Hollywood movie. And always with all the people around me who were aesthetically inclined, discuss the shots, discuss the editing. Oh. It was like a natural interest in film. In fact, I feel today also that to learn filmmaking from that time was a great, great blessing for me. Because I actually handled celluloid and played with celluloid. Cut, spliced it with tape, by editing rooms. And just to look at a frame and then decide what to cut with where is so much more learning than getting things and then waiting for processing, waiting for printing. So, in a sense, I learned on the job. Got it. Now, with the help of my dad, I got. So, which was the first breakthrough? Yeah, with my help was, I think, the first film I did independently was a tobacco film for Golden Tobacco Company. Oh. Something called, I think, was it Esquire cigarettes? There was a batch of 3 or 4 cigarettes. Now, I used some of my friends in Bombay. I used some film actors who were aspiring actors like Mahendra Sandhu. and
Okay.
people like that who were, who were with my brother in class,
And this is all pre-television, right? These all.
Oh yeah, all cinema days.
Cinema days.
That
So
time
the only way.
advertising was for the big screen. Blaze was releasing all those ads, and any good product like HUL or these big products were doing thousands of prints, running across India. But like average feature film was doing 100, 200 films maximum. Ads were doing up to 1,000 prints, 2,000 prints.
Oh, yeah, okay, wow.
Because the print life also is limited. So you have to really, really 25 weeks and the print is over. Wear and tear.
So after this one, which were the other ones you sort of?
Yeah, so I did a lot of, just a handful of these ads. And I used to sit going to college. I was doing well academically and learning physics and maths, which I think was a greater help in life than actually using it, and a great help in filmmaking also, because a lot of it is optics, a lot of it is physics.
So you understood the science behind all of this?
Yeah, there was science, so I could understand. So that whole thing is much it's very very it's a great learning. And it's a great background to have when you're a filmmaker.
Sure.
So I enjoyed that, and I think one day there's a very interesting story because I was driving down in the monsoon to college, actually, first year college, and it was pouring, and I stopped by at Marine Drive because two ladies were asking for a ride. So they came in the car. There were a couple of us, and we had a conversation on the way. And one of them ladies, I remember her name. She's no more, unfortunately. She was Miss Mobi Ismail, Alec Patamsi's niece.
Okay.
She was working in Intel, and she was there as a film executive. So she told me that to ask me what I do. So I told her I have a little show reel. I've done a few ads because I knew she was in advertising. She said to drop her to letters. And she said, come and send it to me and show it to me. So I booked a theater, mini theater,
Okay.
to show the show reel, which was a reel of film, really, not a video or not a
Got it.
digital
Back in the day.
pen drive. Yeah.
Exactly.
And she liked it. So she said, there's a new soap we're launching, and she involved me in her presentation to HUL.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, to make the soap, which was the first time ever a marble soap with a marble finish, a lemon flavor, and Liril. Now, their concept was to have a girl frolicking in the waves. As we brainstormed this whole thing, I went to see locations for her presentation actually, and then eventually to shoot the film. So, without Google Maps and without any airline except Indian Airlines in India, I remember Ranchi, I went to the south, I went to, first drove to Mahabaleshwar just to see waterfalls. Because I said, let's do a girl in a waterfall. It's much cleaner and fresher than the salty sea, especially the Bombay Sea. Yeah.
The original idea was to have the girl.
Yeah, just, in fact, we shot all the auditions like that.
Okay.
Now, I had a friend. We did a lot of girls in the audition. I remember I shot so many. Used to keep going to Jew and shooting. Eventually, I had a friend called Karen Lunel who became the little girl, who used to swim with me in the US club, right in the army area.
Okay.
I had access to that from because of a golf membership or something. And I realized that she would be ideal. She had not done any modeling.
Okay.
So I shot another little ad with her, I remember, for a soft drink, which turned out really well, which was again in a bikini on the beach. And I presented her to levers and litters. And of course, they bought it immediately. That's how the whole thing evolved, The presentation was a hit. I had shot the waterfalls and she had used it as backdrops. Those days, presentations by agencies to clients were slideshows with a bit of Super 8 projection. I had shot Super 8. So, waterfall, girls, superimpose this, that, lime, freshness. And they bought it. We went ahead
and all this while you were in college?
All this while in first year college.
First year of college.
Actually, I think I made the film. I passed out of school at 15, so this was at 16.
So you shot this at 16?
At 16, yeah. But I had friends like cameramen who were still in the film institute. I used them. I had editors who were still in the institute. I used them. And I had, though that was the first Liril film. And I found this amazing fall in Kodaikanal called Tiger Falls, which later came to be called Liril Falls by the guides. So, we had to cut a path to go down. The sun was very limited there. It was very cold because the monsoon there to fill up the fall was only in December and January.
Okay.
So just at the end of the monsoon, when it stopped raining, we used to go and shoot. The first film I shot. And I had these things in my mind, so I took 3 cameras to shoot. Those days it was limited celluloid. There was an Airy 2C, which does regular shooting with a zoom lens and, of course, block lenses. There was what Manoj Kumar ji had, a high-speed camera. He was a very technical, up-to-date man, making his movies with prism lenses. I used all his gear.
Acha.
Because I used to watch his films also, and I knew that this was the kind of thing we needed. So high-speed camera to give you slow motion. And, because technically it was very difficult in India to do opticals. What they call opticals were simple dissolves in special effects. The quality used to suffer. If you see, say, an old film and you see the titles, there's always a lag in quality to the rest of the film.
Correct.
Because they had to duplicate it and all that. So that never came well. So I took a Mitchell camera, which is the one in the showcase here, and that camera, I knew it would go forward and reverse. I'd been speaking to technicians, so I could do dissolves and stuff in that.
While making the movie, were you sort of, did you get a sense that this ad is going to be one of the most iconic ads ever?
Not really. I just was having the time of my life, playing with these toys, going on location with my crew, which was all young.
When did it hit you that this ad is really now?
Only after it was released. So while going on, it was a process. And I thought, okay, so I was westernized. I didn't realize the impact that this would have on an Indian audience. Never seen before a girl in a bikini.
Correct.
Never seen before a girl frolicking in the waterfall in a bikini. Then the music, and also I was experimenting with the editing. Apart from the photography, I'd also had to choreograph it myself those days. So I watched again a lot of reels. Reels in the sense not Instagram. I watched reels in the theater.
Correct.
But very few people had a collection of foreign ads on reels. Soaps and soaps and soaps. And I started seeing what freshness is about. And I evolved, and I was reading a lot about avant-garde filmmakers of that time. And I realized that there were directors and filmmakers who had experimented with subliminal images, cutting 2 and 3 frames together, which was almost 1/12 of a second, and giving flash cuts and stuff. Which actually you have to give a health warning now if you do it.
But the brand supported you while with the girl.
They had no idea what I was doing. The agency brand had no idea what is in my head and what I was doing. And I was playing.
So the final version came out, they were sort of...
Yeah, so it was actually a very pleasant shock and surprise for everybody. But more so for the audience. Because, it was a big product. Hindustan Lever was huge. And they did a lot of prints simultaneously. So the moment they put it out in the theater with that music, that editing, and that visual, and that girl. Now, the whole thing about the girl also, she was my friend. We were very close, Karen Lunel. But the thing is that it was cold. And I couldn't ask her, didn't have the heart also to ask her that you go in the water while I'm filming outside in the sun in my sweater. So I used to first get into my swimsuit, first dive in, pretend it's okay, and it's safe. And of course, there were footholds for rocks and all that. And when I used to do that, then she used to come in with some confidence. And of course, it was all shivering. So with that shiver, she got a sense of excitement. Our shoot used to last 2 or 3 hours a day till the sun shone. We needed that brightness and the sparkle of the water. And then we would step out, have some brandy, and then do that between shots. But the shooting was extended because we had to make more than one negative, sometimes seven, eight, because you couldn't duplicate, like I said. So if they wanted so many, in a negative, you get only 200 prints. So if you wanted 2,000 prints, you needed that many negatives.
Got it.
So we were shooting variations of each take, and asking it to do the same action 10 times. So all the takes had to be okay. Now that is a process, which used to go on those days because it was cinema. And for cinema, you needed multiple prints, especially for big products. Then I came and I remember the first edit I did was in a place called Blaze in Colaba where they had a Steenbeck. No, actually, before that, I was working with some of my dad's friends, were working with the moviolas, which used to rip the film every time. I used to be really, really angry with it. Because every time, it got caught on the sprocket, it would rip.
Okay.
So that was another technique. But then I started working on the flatbed editing machine with tape splicers, which was the most advanced thing in cinema those days. Otherwise, you had to scratch the film and splice it with gum and all that. And we cut this whole film literally, methodically, mathematically on the music track, which I had already recorded with Vanad Bhatia.
Okay.
Now, when I recorded that track, I had asked him for the drum rolls and flash frames and a bit of sitar and this and that, knowing that this is where I'd cut subliminally, this is where I'd cut slowly, this is where I'd use slow motion. So I took those rushes and would just measure that portion of the music. See, those days you had an optical track, so you could see the music.
Got it. Okay.
So I could see that and say, okay, this is 2 feet 8 frames. I need this much of a shot. So I would just measure that and cut it. So the whole editing really was mathematical. And the impact was tremendous. Because, something cut to music like that, methodically, to every drum roll, every drum beat, of course, common now. But at that time, it was a breakthrough.
Wow.
It was just.
So which was after Liril, which was the
Yeah,
next?
people are doing very. I would think they were doing pretty conventional editing. That left to right, look, this, that, And here I was just, massacring the shots.
So you sort of way ahead of
Yeah, getting an impact, So I think all those factors work together magically, and my career took off on that.
And following the success of Liril, which were the other ones, notable ads?
Yeah, see, then I became a hot favorite producer of Levers, and then all the other agencies followed suit. Oblintas, Hindustan Thompson, O&M. I was working for all the major agencies. They gave me another beautiful ad to do at that time. 2 or 3 actually for Britannia, Milk Bikis with children. But those are all, they look like big productions if you see them today. They were all live and they were all a minute, because for cinema. I remember soon after that I shot.
So this was in the cinema era before the television came.
Before, yeah. So I remember after that.
Those times the ad film was what, a minute long?
They were minutes. They were actually 100 feet.
Okay.
So
in terms of minutes,
people who released it was Blaze. They would charge per 100 feet. 100 feet was a standard amount for censorship, for excise and all that. You could make it longer, but you had to pay more.
In terms of minutes,
and that was a minute and 6 seconds.
Okay, a minute and 6 seconds.
Yeah, you could do longer if you wanted. And I think I was one of 4 or 5 producers who were young and with it, and we made a big name. And we actually took over the whole production scene of ad films all over India.
And this was in the 80s, 70s?
I think it was more 70s.
70s.
Yeah, although I started in the late 60s.
Okay, but this was when the 70s.
Yeah. Like, I was telling you about some of the ads I did. Like, there was this Britannia Glucose D with Amjad Khan just after the release of Sholay.
Oh, really? Okay. Achha.
It was considered very iconic because, first of all, very few stars were doing endorsements. It's quite strange, although today endorsements are the biggest earner for any star or any cricket sports star. That time they looked down upon it. They said, Tel Sabun ka film nahi karta hai,
Really? Okay.
And they thought the status was above that. And of course, money was not a consideration for the stars of that generation. And Amjad did it. He liked the script because he was playing Gabbar Singh from Sholay, but in a comic manner for kids.
Okay.
You know, and he's a friend. I used to like him. He used to like me. So we went to a stone quarry and shot it.
Really? Okay.
And it was a big hit.
Achha.
Because, you know, Amjad was so, Gabbar was so scary. Suddenly became a happy guy. Yeah.
Likeable character.
Yeah. Likeable character, laughing and all that. And that really worked well. So, like that, there were some breakthrough ads right across my career, which really, you know, each ad would take me ahead and ahead. And I mean, I think I've done more than 5,000 ads in my life.
Wow,
I did,
5,000 ads.
yeah, I did.
Talk to us about Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, because that
Yeah.
I remember as a child watching on television,
Yeah,
where there's celebrities from different parts of the country and the music changes. And that was
you
an
see, all these films, for me, actually, the adventure and the enjoyment was making the film. You know, it was like a child playing with his toys. And I never really thought of what impact it would have. I never really thought of what it would do, you know, in terms of communication. I would do it the best I could when I was there, use my imagination, let it fly. You know, even if I had to write a script one ad, I would do it on my own. You know, like I remember one ad I did with Jalal called Train Matches. We just won a CAG award immediately at that time.
Okay.
So that's the reason being that, you know, I was doing it from the heart, from my own head, not listening to anybody, you know. And I think that helped me a lot. Like say Mile Sur, actually, because of the reputation of doing great ads, my friend Suresh Malik was in O&M, and he was part of that whole Dude School circle at that time. And one of his friends from Doordarshan Lok Seva Sanchar called him, and this was a couple of years before Mile Sur, and said, we want you to make something for us, for Doordarshan, which will make young Indians proud to be Indians.
Indians.
So I went with, he took me along for the brief as a filmmaker because he was more of a creative director. And that's when we used to come back, we used to joke and sit and drink and, you know, think about it. And then we came up with this idea of doing sports stars. Both of us loved sports. I was playing a lot of sports. He was watching a lot of sports. He also no more, unfortunately. And we did the something called Spread the Light of Freedom.
Yeah.
You know, now that again I directed, and what we did was again a time before phones, before proper communication on this planet.
This was in the 80s, correct?
No, yeah, it was early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah. So what I did then was that we wrote out letters, and those days fax telexes to a lot of people, and said that, you know, we would like to shoot this in this month. It was meant for August 15th. And where would you be? And we will come. So people like Prakash Padukone and so many agreed, you know. We got hold of Kapil,
Dev,
Prakash, Pataudi.
Sunil Gavaskar.
Yeah, so many people, great iconic stars. And started traveling for a month, give up all, which was quite lucrative for us, all the ads we were doing, at least for me. But I said I won't do any other work because we just travel for this. Because every day we had to be on a plane. Took the crew. By that time I was shooting with R.M. Rao, who was doing the star cameraman of all ad films and short films. Again, a film institute student, but was the first batch. And I was learning a lot from him. See, the whole process was also to learn alongside all the time. So we went all across the. In fact, one day I remember we were shooting in Kashmir, and then on the same day I was at Kanyakumari.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, with flights, and shooting another scene the next day. So it was hectic. 1 month.
So this whole film was shot over what? A few weeks, few months?
It was shot over a month.
Over a month.
For whoever agreed and was available in that month. But I thought then we have to get back and edit it. Now we did that Freedom Torch film first, and with, you know, the idea was to. It was inspired, I think, from Chariots of Fire, the music which I made Louis do. And also the idea of the torch was, of course, for the Olympics, but spread the light of freedom. Now, sports star Salim, again, done without expecting any response from the public. We're just done for Doordarshan because they've asked us, Lok Seva Sanchar, and we try to keep it, completely non-political, non-preachy, that kind of thing. So we shot it. I got the track from Louis. I edited it. And again, brilliant response, because again,
that was an iconic one.
that time, apart from that, TV had just begun.
TV just began, so it is strictly on television.
And Doordarshan very kindly showed it every day, every couple of hours, with our names on it. So with my name, the production company, and with Malik's name. So it was something that, I'd evolved technically again and came out. And then each shot was magical because you can't plan deer running behind PT Usha.
Oh, yes.
But when I go to IIT, because that's where she was available in Chennai, and I want to shoot her, I checked the location in the morning. Everything was improvised. And I saw there was her and there was a Shiny Abraham, also a great runner.
Yeah.
So I saw there are deer there. So I told my cameraman, I said, we'll put the camera far away, we'll get a long lens. And you'll only get the stake once because those deer will never show up again. They're so scared. We send her from here. As she passes the deer, they'll run for a while and they'll disappear. And that's exactly what happened that evening when we shot.
Wow.
So, it was magic. Spread the Light of Freedom, I think, had an unprecedented response for two reasons. One is that all government-made, films were basically documentaries. They were preachy, they were informative, they were good, but very few had a sense of art in them,
Absolutely.
I think. There were some great filmmakers in films division, but with the kind of generally release just got in the theaters and then on TV when, which was where it was primarily designed for, it was like, again, something people had not seen before. A little film that and telling you so much without being too blatant, without being too...
I mean, that film is even relevant.
Without shouting it out loud.
30, 40 years is still relevant. People watch it.
So the subtlety of it, I think, and the fact that it had that heroic music and the fact that all the heroes were there on the screen, I think everything, again, the combination of factors.
So when the 90s era came with liberalization and satellite television coming in, so that
it came in the 80s. This was black and white TV.
No, but when the era changed from 80s to 90s, when we moved, when all these, with the opening of the economy, you had these other iconic ads like Nirma and all these other ones.
Yeah, now see what happened. Actually, talking of national integration, I'll talk about that also. But national integration, this was not my first. But like I said, I started making films at 16 in college. That time I had few and spaced out films with a lot of gaps in between and a lot of technicians around me. So one day, that time I got an idea for a national integration film. It was called Sita or Salim. Oh, because it was a hangover of partition, I guess, and there was a lot of animosity, as there's always been. So just to overcome that, I just took two little children. I remember my milkman's daughter and another neighbor's son or something, and just took them out into the woods at Chana Creek with a crew and asked them to play. And as they played, and they plucked flowers and threw stones in the stream, I kept filming candid. Then I put that together and made an edit with just the title at the end saying Sita or Salim.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that was actually my first attempt at national integration, self-sponsored, self-produced with my friends.
Wow.
I remember
on YouTube. I put this on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I can give you a copy.
Okay,
You can show it.
Check it out.
Now I showed it to my friend Suresh Bhojwani, who was in school with me. He plays great guitar, 12 string and 6 string. And I told him, look at this and do some music to it. Came to the studio. So he stormed along with it and got a very, very nice emotional track, playful. Really went with the film. It was a dub of a 12 string and 6 string, and he was a good guitarist. He is a good guitarist, Suresh, and he's still my buddy. So that now I didn't know what to do with it. I showed it to friends, I showed it on some seminars and stuff. Then my dad said, show it to Films Division. I showed it to them and they bought it for whatever price at that time, 10, 15,000. Not much, but maybe less than I spent also. But it was great to see it there just before the newsreel in the theaters. Because cinema was very popular, and every cinema screening had a newsreel up ahead. Wow. Before there was actually the trailers and the film and all that, all over India, and then of course a little bit of Doordarshan.
But you were dubbed in different languages.
Yeah, and this one had only music.
Okay.
And there was only one line. Yeah, when we did a line, we dubbed it. In fact, our whole, after I did Mile Sur, and the reason Mile Sur came out so well with so many languages, I feel one of the reasons is that my training in advertising was to dub everything in 14 languages, minimum.
Okay.
All the East languages, all the West languages, the South and the North, sometimes even more. So we had a team always in advertising to translate, to supervise, and to dub. Ready. There were agencies doing that also. So actually, when we took up Mile Sur, when I got the lyrics from Vinod Sharma, he was helped by Piyush Pandey to. He was asked to sit down with him, supervise, and write the lyrics for O&M. But Vinod Sharma was a great writer of that time. So when he got these lyrics, we gave it to Bhimsen Joshi because that was a subsequent year of Spread the Light of Freedom.
Correct.
So when we did that ad, they loved it so much. Next year they came back for Mile Sur. They didn't tell us what to do. First time we thought ourselves of sports. I thought of sports, and we gelled on that and we did it. This time I thought of music. Suresh agreed with me, and we did it. So again, improvised all over India to do what we had to do. We wrote letters, same process. Got people who were available. Some stars, some regular people, some sports stars or whatever. And he said, okay, at least cover the whole of India and some landscapes. We had for Sindhi, I remember we had a cricketer called Irbani.
Oh, yes.
And we had, in the south, we had a Mahoot, a regular guy from Lake Periyar, just passing by an elephant, made him sing. So, again, you have to be aware and alert of your environment, of the people around you, and no one looking over your shoulder and telling you, no, show me a storyboard, show me a script, show me the intention of the shot. That kind of thing became very rampant with the very big corporations in advertising. And I think it spoiled the spontaneity of it. There has to be a script, there has to be a particular lighting, there has to be a particular, particular resemblance to a storyboard presented. And I was here working on a freehand.
Now it's become more process oriented.
Yeah, very process because so much was at stake, is at stake, I guess.
Correct. There's the budget and.
But I did Mile Sur. I started in Hindi. I told Bhimsen Joshi that, he had a lot of respect for my father, who was a great singer. So when I gave him the lyrics, he said, yes, I'll do it for you. Just give me a week. So he came back in a week to the recording studio with that song worked out in Bhairavi. And I'm telling you, he sat down with a tanpura, one harmonium player, and one tabla, and he recorded it for 45 minutes, because he's a classical singer. So Mile Sur, he's recording for 45 minutes, improvised in all sorts of ways. That whole tape I'm going to Doordarshan, I don't think they've retained it properly. I think they might have lost it at that time. But I had to take that, I remember, and it was a magnetic tape. I took it to the studio, transferred it, and I cut it down to 45 seconds. Wow. So that's all we could use. When I got that, handed that to Bal Murali Krishna in the south and to Louis Banks and to another music director who's a no more called Vaidyanathan.
Okay.
Vaidyanathan was a great violin player who had lost his fingers or something, but became a very popular ad film music director. So, to do some of the regional languages. And each one of them gave us a translation, and we got translation done and gave it to them. So, each one of them gave us a verse in different languages. Now, we hadn't put it together. That was the last stage. What we did was took each language, each person relevant for each language, each part of the country, and started traveling and shooting. Again, improvised the location, improvised the setting, and shot. I remember Bal Murali Krishna when he went to shoot. I had to record him in the morning in the studio in Chennai and then take him to Mahabalipuram beach to shoot. And he came, we had a few celebrities from there. He came with Kamala Hassan to the studio. Kamala Hassan was young and, great guy. I mean, he told me, I'm his Shagird. I said, if you love him so much, come for the shoot. Let us have a close up of you. He said, yeah, I'll come.
Did they charge anything for that?
No one charged ever.
Nobody charged.
Yeah.
So
No one charged for these films ever.
okay.
Only for the endorsements. So we went to, you have to pay sometimes the entourage and the ancillary expenses like driver, sport boy, and all, makeup man. But no one charges for themselves. Otherwise, don't do it.
Got it.
So we went to Mahabalipuram, shot. There was Ramesh Krishnan. There was so many stars out there, if you see. And Balmundi Krishna, he had recorded, so he just played back. Even the waves were in sync with him. So, he had a crane and whatever was the big setups of those days.
So Kailash, now that's sort of in the interest of time, I'm going to cut you short over here. Sorry. There's a big. I want to talk about the Campa ad with Salman Khan. Can you just talk us through that ad? How did you pick up Salman?
See, the Campa ad, again, I thought as an ad, it was ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, it is.
Because, it was the first time we shot underwater. Secondly, again, a very brave thing I did was there was no underwater gear in India to rent. First, I was considering bringing it in from abroad, but that was very expensive because with a crew. And it was not such a big budget. So I remember Umesh Mehra from FC Mehra Productions, Eagle Films, had made a camera, a makeshift box, and he had shot an entire feature film in which Aisha Shroff was the heroine with Manish Bell, called Teri Baahon Mein. It was based on, there was a film where two young teenage kids were stranded on an island.
Okay.
We had shot it, and that camera was there. I remember the on-off button of the camera was encrusted into a nipple, a baby's nipple, and you couldn't see through it when shooting. You just put a lens, aim, and shoot. So I said, let's take this camera and go to Andaman, just on a whim. Again, most of the models were friends. There was Aisha Shroff, whom I had been shooting a lot with. She was my neighbor.
Okay.
Then there was, and Jackie was my neighbor also. Jackie was courting her those days.
Jackie Shroff.
Yeah. Then there was Sunil Lischel's, Sunil Lischel's, Sunil Lischel was the youngest brother of Naveen Lischel. He was working with me. Okay. Then there was another couple of top models, Vanessa was, all close friends. Aarti was there, my wife. And Aarti had shot with Sunsilk, which was again a breakthrough ad, and then married her after that. After 8 years after that. So we all went to Andaman. I had this camera. Then I had RM Rao cameraman. I realized he couldn't swim.
And Salman also was part of it.
Yeah, now Salman was a last minute addition 2 days before the departure because we were one guy short. And Salim Saab and Salman and all used to frequent the Sea Rock Club, which was at Land's End, And Aarti's dad, Major Gupta, he was in charge of the club, working with them. So he mentioned to Aarti that if you're looking for a good swimmer, my friend's son is there. Young guy, great swimmer. Comes and swims every day. Not done anything. Aarti went to see him, and his story is that he saw her, wanted to impress her, dived in, came out from the other side. And anyway, she sent him to me. And I thought he's a child because he was 15.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, by this time I was about 20, 25, I think. So he was a child. I just looked at him and I rang up Aarti from outside the office. I said, listen, this guy's a baby compared to everyone else, so tall and all. He said, no, ask him to take off his shirt. So he took off his shirt, looked good. I said, anyway, now we have no one, let's go. But it's amazing, we hit it off immediately. First night before the shooting started, we hit it off. Because, I don't know, just one of those chemistries. I loved his energy, he loved mine, and we were like, fooling around, cracking jokes, playing games all night. We started shooting the next day. That's when I realized that I love to shoot it myself. So I had to actually lie to the
cameraman couldn't swim, so you had to.
he was a great swimmer, and a great diver. So was everyone else, and I was also. But no one else could operate that camera underwater. The cameraman couldn't.
Acha.
So I dived with the camera, waited, and actually I had to bluff the diving instructor that I was the diver, but I had forgotten my certification at home. He said, you couldn't check on the net also. That was not very common those days. He said, how do I know you can dive? How would you walk on the beach if you had your fins on? I said, backwards. That I had read somewhere. So he said, okay. They gave me the gear. I just learned on the job diving also. And I dived in with that camera so I could stay and operate it. Would put a lens, aim and shoot. So it only come out when we needed to change the magazine, of the film. I remember once, the first shot we did, after a whole night of being awake and fooling around with Salman, the first night, he couldn't face the reflectors, he couldn't open his eyes. So I told the cameraman to
Was
put
it
off.
the first time he was facing the camera?
First time in his life. I told the camera, I said, switch off all the reflectors. He switched it off, it came out beautifully. Then he was happy. He was drinking the Campa Cola and diving off the boat and everything. We had a naval boat. Shot in it for the whole day. Then the Navy came and told us there are sharks here. What the hell are you doing? So we all jumped into the boat and changed location. So that was another great adventure, that shoot.
Yeah, because even today,
Yeah,
if you watch it today,
it looks great.
sort of has that energy and that,
All the films that you have a great time shooting always turn out better, and you have a free hand at shooting. I think they turn out better. I've done all kinds and worked with all kinds of clients and all, but I think my great films are all done in that circumstance. So that was Campa Cola, but at that time it was released, the drink went out of the market, it went out of focus. Suddenly it came back in focus because I posted it as Salman's first ad. And he also said something about it, and suddenly, I'm getting millions of responses on all social media, wherever it's posted on YouTube and everywhere. And the same thing with and then Reliance bought it. So again, it's back in the market. It'll be a lead.
Oh yeah, Reliance has come out recently.
So that was that. Mile Sur happened after that, and after that, Doordarshan gave us another film to do, in which I used all the classical musicians, Zakir Bhai, all the great dancers, Ravi Shankar.
Which ad was this?
Huh?
Which ad was this? Or which?
No, that was Ragdesh. It was a national integration film.
Okay.
That, Zakir Bhai, when he was alive, he always told me, I shot ads with Zakir Bhai also, many Taj tea ads. All those iconic Taj tea ads I shot.
The Waha Taj,
Waha Taj, yeah.
Those were done by you?
At least 20 of them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Between me and Chamantro, he did one or two, but I did most of them. Achha. And then
the Waha Taj.
Before that, I remember doing an ad where there's a concert. It was a cigarette. Some other hero was there, but he's playing. With Sultan Saab was playing Sarangi. And that was the first time I met him. We've been friends since then, till he died. With the family, actually. Then eventually this ad, when Zakir Bhai used to go and teach in America, he said, I used to always show this film as a showcase of Indian music and instruments. It had everything in it.
Okay.
All the instruments, all the guitars, all the masters. It was a great piece too. I mean, a historic piece to put together.
Okay.
I can send you these to have a look.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You have a look and use clips if you like, And then that was again for them. Then many years later, there was a revival of Mile Sur with Phir Mile Sur, which I don't know if you've seen. It's on the net. Millions of views again, especially because it was done for Zoom TV for Times of India. They paid for it. It has everybody in it. I'll send you that also.
Okay.
So that came out well. And then, of course, ads have been going on since then.
Because one trend that's coming out is whenever you had a free hand, all these ads sort of came from your heart, and
That's a
the
personal
magic
thing.
was there.
Yeah.
So you were in a situation where you were sort of under the brand watch, or there was some guidelines.
Oh, I've done many like that.
Where you think there wasn't as much as liberty given to you.
I've done many like that, with very restricted storyboards and millions of meetings before the ad where you ask strange questions like, what is the scene objective? So if you want to, conceive a cut, you have to be able to express in words the objective of that cut. But I mean, it's part of the game. I did that also. I mean, there are people, there are executives, I guess, everywhere who have to cover their ass because of all the
Correct.
money that goes behind the ad, not in production, but in release. Okay. And not only that, jobs at stake and large money at stake, competition. So I've done all kinds. Like I said, out of 5,000 ads, many of them had a free hand. Many of them were done with friends who never really prodded you in that manner. And many were done just for large corporates in big conference rooms, having meetings and stuff like that. It's also part of the game. I don't resent that, but I'm just saying that, if you're a true filmmaker, you'll enjoy that freedom. So, once you get a chance to do something on your own, especially telling a long story, like I did Love You Amesha, which I think it's on YouTube now, but that was a feature film. A.R. Rahman's music, Akshay Khanna in his early days, Sonali Bendre. Great music. The producer who came in from the London or something from the south could not fund it till the end. Okay. He made me fund it and then disappeared. Then I found out that he has gone to the editing room, taken the whole negative from the lab, and gone to London. And he's taken it there and finished it on his own without me finishing the shooting. Okay. Then the next thing, after doing some multiple scams with it, then I found out that it's released on YouTube. But still, I tell you see it on YouTube. If you see it scene by scene, the songs, till today, it has the passion ahead of its time. At that time, what we shot, Rajasthan, and so many locations and the kind of scenes. I was portraying, from a small town, two people come to the big town. Got it. And one becomes an actor, one becomes a big bottle. Then they're being together in a small town, they're falling apart. It was a nice story, love story. But I really enjoyed that because there was no one looking over your shoulder when you shoot. I was working with fight composers, with music, with choreographers, with music directors, with Rahman Saab, with everybody. And you just enjoy yourself. You say what you want to see, and it comes out beautifully.
Kailash, again in the 90s, or maybe after some of, which were the other iconic ads that you sort of enjoyed or worked on? Well, some of them which went on to win awards or had an impact in terms of business sort of flourishing for that particular brand.
Starting from the beginning, all these ads I've mentioned, there was Sunsilk, where I met my wife, which was a breakthrough hair ad.
Okay.
For its time, because see what happened with the hair ads was a lot of people didn't understand the texture of hair and sunlight. So it just always come out frizzy, or they had to do later on when it became digital, a ton of special effects, put fake shines which looked fake. And that became a norm. Today when you shoot a hair ad, they're using hair experts which fly in from all around the world, and they condition the hair for a week with the model. And then they insist on flicking it themselves. And they charge a fortune for that. And a special cameraman who knows how to shoot hair. Now this, I think, is absolute, hype. Because, of course, I'm not putting their work down. They do great work. all international people. But I remember taking Aarti, my wife now, first time I met her, to Kodiganal, shooting in natural sunlight. Okay, I did brush the hair myself before every take. She has great hair, so that was a big plus. And the way the sun hit it, the cameraman had a great eye. That shine was never seen again, and I never seen before. Because that hair, again on cinema, made a sensation. Calls started coming in. They had not seen anything like it. Not a great script or anything, but just the texture of hair made the film. And of course, Aarti styling herself, her makeup, and her whole demeanor. She was just an upcoming model. Of course, 8 years later, we got married. But we were seeing each other for that time, but busy with our careers. But that was a breakthrough. Then there was this thing. I think more recently we converted Rahul Dekona and me from Dekona Associates. We worked together on converting the 2D Amul girl into 3D.
Okay.
And then we started combining it with live action. We did 2 such films. I think they were pretty good technically and very well appreciated. I did a lot of films for Amul.
Because Amul mostly is in the Times of India or the big hoarding that you watch.
Those were
That
at
one
that time
you were-
2D. Now they look more 3D.
Okay.
The very beginning one was sketches. So that time it was all cartoon animation done by hand artists. Then it became computer animation. So that breakthrough was for the first time. And stuff like that. I did all the Vimal ads. And I think I was the first person to shoot in Rajasthan. Again, they were done without a brief. I was told by A.G. Krishnamurthy in Mudra, Ahmedabad that time, that we have so much money, use the top models, we have these suits. Aarti would come with me and choose the suits, choose the saris, choose the dressing materials, style them, design them, and we just go on location and shoot. Palaces, forts, deserts, anywhere.
All of those.
Yeah, so, and then I went to Calcutta and with Ananda Shankar, again, no more. We recorded only with Mal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That iconic
Yeah.
tagline.
And he was, one of those old-time sound composers with a dance troupe and all that his wife used to have. So the whole entourage used to go to the studio. He had choruses. I should just take a lead singer. I went 2 or 3 trips to do this song. It took about 8 days of recording in Dum Dum Studios in Calcutta, which was the original studio of HMB. And, he recorded it like a emperor, sitting back and doing pieces every day. I enjoyed that, with them. And he made a jingle which was oft repeated after that by me, local music directors, and even by other producers. But that melody stayed as long as, Bimal was a huge iconic brand.
Vimal, back in the day, I remember back in the day, I think late 80s, early 90s, there was a massive ad over there.
There was also Nirma, there was Nirma Beauty Soap with Sonali, which I shot over the years. So even in the 90s, we've done many ads, but the thing is that I feel, first of all, times have changed. From cinema advertising, it became TV, attention spans, then internet.
So it became suddenly from a 1 minute, it became a 30-seconder.
No, even 5 seconder, even
5 seconders.
10 seconder.
Yeah.
So what happens is that, first of all, I've shot ads with celebrities. I've shot all the thumbs up ads with all the cricketers of the time, Gavaskar, with Sunil, with Sachin, with Patil, with Ravi.
Acha.
So many. With Kapil. But what happens is that now as time went on, it became very crowded. To stand up from the clutter is difficult. So I think the fame and the name that I made with my first move ads and those iconic ads over time, and it was in the jungle there. That is very difficult for anyone to do today. There are many hundreds and millions of filmmakers.
Correct.
Anyone can make a film digitally. And also the whole advertising scene has been taken by endorsements, 80% of it. You do get good scripts with normal people, regular people, but there's always an endorsement or a celebrity involved. They limit your time they give you. I shot with Akshay Kumar for a film for red and white cigarettes when cigarette advertising was allowed in cinemas. He gave me 15 days.
For one
He
ad.
said, make me a great ad
Huh.
because it's the first ad I'm doing. And we shot him, doing his own stunts, jumping from a cable car, rescuing a girl, everything. Went to Lonavala, went to Film City, kept doing shoots with him till we got the whole thing right. I still think it looks like a big ad. Today, I think, I don't know, I mean, not his fault, his time and he's managed now. So for about 1,000 times the money, maybe more, he'll give you 4 hours a day. So in fact, what happens, the norm is that take the celebrity, shoot in the limited time, shoot green screen, and then work the rest of the ad around it. That also takes talent, takes design, takes technical know. I mean, I can do it. Anyone can do it. I mean, if you know what you're doing. But it's not easy anymore. It's not done on that scale.
So, Kailash, I'm going to ask about a few other aspects of this business now. Now, with 5,000 ad films under your belt and the whole body of experience that you have, what are top three things would you advise a young filmmaker, who's entering into this
I
domain?
have to think about that. But I think the most important thing is that if you really want to make films, it should only be for one reason, that you love films. You must have a passion for films. Whether it's you go in for training or you're not. If you love films, if you have a passion for films, you love to watch films, then you should think of making films. Then you learn. Also, while watching, once you watch a film, you will be involved with the story and with the, what an audience is meant to be involved in. But after that, you have to be able to separate yourself and watch how it's made. If you have that ability, then definitely you should be a filmmaker. I mean, it's an art and it's a craft. So basically, you can't just do it because you think it's a great business or you think it's glamorous or, that passion must be there for films. Old films, new films, classics, everything. And you should be able to see into the film.
So basically, a lot of passion, a lot of
enthusiasm for the. Without that, there's no point, It's like you can't paint unless you have passion for art.
Absolutely.
You can't write unless you have passion. You can't make films unless you have passion.
Which film was made on a least budget?
On a
least budget?
Oh, many.
And then turned out to be one of those really good ones. So least budget and really came out well.
Well, to quite honestly, these films had no budget. Even first time, Mile Sur, Freedom Torch, we were doing it for, at that time, Doordarshan were not used to spending big. I was spending bigger money on ads. Per second, if you go to see, filmmaking and ads is the most expensive filmmaking in the world. But, sometimes when they ask you to do a documentary or a film like that, the budget was negligible. I mean, much later, I was given a fair budget by the Ministry of Culture to do Har Ghar Tiranga, which was a great campaign. We did a lovely film between Amjad and me. Amjad, my son, had come back from school and he shot half the film because we had just a month to finish all over India. And many of the celebrities that we wanted in the film were abroad. So he was doing all that, traveling and everything. The East, I was doing the rest. And I think, put that together quite well. Devi Prasad from the South did the music. That's much more contemporary than those films. So actually that way, many films have had no budget.
Okay.
So I actually, in my policy in my life, is to work it backwards. I've never said no.
Okay. Explain that.
Yeah, because I like to make films. So to me, even making a film without a budget is a challenge. I'm not spoiled to say that no, unless I get so much, I'm not doing it. I don't mind forsaking my fee. If I like to make something, I don't mind forsaking my fee. I don't mind forsaking but the fee for my time. And try to use my brains to innovate in whatever way to do it cheap. Like today, technically there are a million ways you can, do a film cheap. You can avoid making a set by just creating an AI set and shooting green screen. At the same time, you can make a set worth lakhs. You know,
Correct.
you can avoid taking 1,000 extras, but then you can create 1,000 extras on AI. Some find it unethical, especially when when the junior artists, they're earning, their living is based on it. In Hollywood, that's a big struggle. But there are ways to do things. And if you're a filmmaker and if you're intelligent enough, you'll find a way around it. So I can't name any one particular film, but I would say that I've never said no.
Got it. Which ad film of yours had the greatest impact on business? I mean, because of that ad film, the business sort of soared. Which ones?
Well, I think it was my early films, especially Liril, because I had no name and then suddenly everyone knew me. And then after that, a lot of films which we've spoken about already.
No, business for not for you, but business for the brand, which sort of
Yeah, Liril, it became a market leader till many other companies copied that soap. There were lime freshness all over the place. And then even they probably copied themselves. And then it got diluted, which is always the case in any market. There's always a Me Too. There's a first mover and then a Me Too. And then once it gets diluted, so you can have a limited run, but you can have a good run if you do that for a while. I think the same thing happened to me as a brand. I mean, I've made films when I was the youngest and almost the only filmmaker in the country doing that kind of work. And I would get people from all over wanting to. I mean, I've worked with, trained so many people who became filmmakers later. Then I found that people from agencies have become filmmakers, writers have become filmmakers. And now there are just so many that everybody will have just 10 seconds of fame. Because the whole thing is about being a first mover.
Absolutely.
And being, there while the going is good. And in a less crowded environment, where you don't have to, you stand out, from the clutter.
So you just mentioned about AI. Now going forward, this whole AI wave is getting stronger, and some brands will sort of say, okay, it's a way of saving money and budget and all of those things. And some of this AI stuff also comes out well.
Yeah.
What's your view on that? You think
well, actually,
making will sort of shift towards that? We've seen that happen.
It has to be a tool. AI has to be a tool to make better films. It can't just take everything over. I mean, see, AI is constantly learning, but it's learning from human experience. It's learning from what is out there, and what is out there is humans and their work and their art and their knowledge, right? It can't invent its own. Of course, when it does, it's disastrous. Sometimes it does, it goes haywire. But
yeah,
I feel like I've worked on AI a lot. I work on Midjourney, I work on Runway. So far, I haven't worked on anything that will be released, but I've worked on presentations I can show the client. I've done a whole series of 6 or 7 tourism films on AI. Sitting right here in the office, but not for release.
Okay, just
to show the clients what your film will be. With the cast, which looks real, with the locations which look real. With the one thing AI finds difficult today is emotion, and of course, individual subjective creativity. If I have a thought in my mind, it's all about language also, no? How do you prompt? You have to be good to be able to express that in language. And then every AI has its own language.
Oh, yes.
In certain AI, if you put in a character and you say the next scene I want the same character, there are shortcuts. You have to learn that. Every time you give a prompt, it's like putting in a code.
Yes.
But it's so far it's quite imperfect. What you get out of AI will look plastic, if you ask me. And of course, there's always the celebrity factor. Unless they give you the right to, you can't create a Salman Khan out of AI. Unless he says, okay, I'll allow you to do it for a large sum of money.
Copyright issue also is a big.
Yeah, but emotion. You can't create emotion today so easily. It may learn. It may see 100 movies where people are sad, 1 million movies where people are sad, and reproduce 1 millionth of each. and creates its own sadness. That's what AI is about.
Correct.
But again, it's now encountering all kinds of copyright laws because it has learned for free on the creative work of authors and artists.
Absolutely.
So these big corporations, if I have done something in my life and it's out there on the net, it's picked up that for free.
That learned, and they're not even compensating the original creators.
For example, I put in a prompt when I was making a presentation for that film never got made, those films. But I was doing a beautiful set of films for the Bombay police, Maharashtra police on cybercrime. And my concept was like choreographed, to bring the message across, in which one side, like your West Side Story, one side there were cops and one side there were cyber criminals. Now, the cops, when I put in a prompt and I said Indian policeman, I got someone who uncannily resembled Dabang. So, Churbul Pandey. Now, when I looked at that, I said, this is where it's learned from. When you say Indian and you say cop, so what comes to mind? The strongest figure is that. Now, of course, it wasn't him. It looked like him.
Correct.
But unmistakably like him, and the same swagger. Then I made that into a video. It had the same swagger. So it's things like that, Now, when it does tend towards a bit more originality, and but it can't be creative. If I have a concept, it'd be very difficult to translate that, and emotion and interaction. So I think it's a long way off.
It's a long way off. Still.
Yeah, but definitely it's a huge tool. Like I said, for a background of, say, ancient Rome, it's a perfect ploy. You can use it.
Correct.
Or for a background of 1,000 soldiers, Chinese soldiers charging, could do that.
All of those things possible.
Where it's not important what they look like or who they look like.
So, Kailash, now, any filmmaker that has impressed you, of recently, any bad film, either international or Indian, you saw, hey, this is a great. Which can you name some? Can you name some filmmakers whose work you've been impressed with?
I think many. I like everyone from Satyajit Ray to Clint Eastwood to Kurosawa to Polish filmmakers like Jansko. I mean, I've seen Guru Dutt, Raj Kapoor. Everybody is great at that time. All the masters. Manoj Kumar in the early days, technically. Sukhdev, there was a filmmaker, even Sharp Manager.
And among the art filmmakers?
Recently, I saw a series called When Life Gives You Tangerines, Korean.
Also Netflix, yes.
Great director. Touches and the writing. Now, sometimes it's all teamwork. Sometimes it's the writing. Sometimes it's the camera. Sometimes it's the touches of the director. Sometimes it's in the script. But the overall film, masterful.
So, as we wrap up, Kailash, what do you think your legacy will be, or should be?
Well, for one thing,
in legacy in Indian advertising, what is your legacy? You would like it to be?
See, in Indian advertising, I think I've already created a legacy with all the first mover work I've done in the early days. Now it's a question of having opportunities to be able to do that more and more, which I have to be given. But as a filmmaker, I think I've only begun. Although, I've had 4 or 5 decades in the line of filmmaking, I still have to put out films and series out there and do that on my own. I still have that drive to do that. And I feel I haven't, done that yet. There's a long way to go still.
So the best of Kailash is still.
Yeah, I feel that. Although a lot has been done, I think there are miles to go.
Miles to go. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you for having me. It's
Pleasure
interesting.
talking to you. All right. Thank you.
Okay.